At 19 years old, I closed out my first 2 wholesale deals for a total profit of 35 grand after 3 months of straight failure. In this video, I want to walk you through step by step how I was able to do this, everything from how I got the lead, the exact cold call script I used, to actually getting it under contract. If I was able to do this as a short, squeaky kid from Chicago, I know for a fact that you can too, as long as you follow this roadmap in this video that I lay out for you. So pay attention. Now, everybody knows, some don't. First step with wholesaling, you need to find leads. When I was first getting started, we were getting shit leads after shit leads, but we were also doing things in a way that everybody else was already doing it within the industry. What do they say?
Get a county list, get a government list, go to PropStream, go to batch leads, start calling through that, get on a triple line dialer.
So, I mean, that's exactly what me and my partner were doing, just because we didn't know better. But like I said, it was 3 months of just hitting a wall, getting on phones with people that were interested in selling, but we were the 9th person to call them already, and we were in competition with some of the top dogs in the industry. And I never thought that that would be a problem just because there's so much real estate, but everybody is hitting all of the great lists, and everybody's hitting PropStream and batch leads. So after 3 months of straight failure, me and my partner got together and we just started asking ourselves, how can we pivot and really start to take more of a targeted approach, we called it. We called it the sniper method or sniping. We don't call it that anymore. We just kind of made it up during the time. But we wanted to figure out how we can snipe these deals rather than get on a list that everybody else is already calling off of. So we made that pivot. We decided to find what areas had the most amount of distressed properties, and we decided to go to those areas and start driving for dollars. I know for a fact people that know what wholesaling is have heard the term driving for dollars. For those that don't, we basically just went to those neighborhoods, found the shitty houses, wrote it into a spreadsheet, and then called them later. So we got about 1,000 to 1,500 addresses. And man, while we were driving in these neighborhoods, let me tell you, you gotta be very, very aware.
Oh, is that gunshot?
Your awareness levels just need to be up. You know, you got to keep your head on a swivel when you're in neighborhoods like this. There's been times when we got pulled over by police literally because they saw 2 white kids driving around a Nissan Altima in the hood, and they illegally searched our car. They thought that we were there picking up drugs so we can do this, and that with it. And it was a bumpy road trying to just get leads, let me tell you, but sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit. But all in all, we decided to take a targeted approach. We got about like 1,500 addresses into a list, and we just started calling through that one by one. No more triple line dialer, no more this, no more that. We decided to have a list on a spreadsheet, just calling straight through it until we were able to generate as many leads as we possibly could. Now, again, I know I keep repeating myself. This was about 3 months of straight failure, and then we decided to start doing it this way. Within the first 2 weeks, we noticed a significant fucking difference within the lead quality, within the conversations that we were having, and also the amount of offers and leads that we were actually generating on a day-to-day basis. We went from barely being able to generate like 2 to 3 leads a week to generating 2 to 4 leads each freaking day. And it was all started because we had the right list. You know, we were getting on the phones with these people, and we weren't getting told this is the 9th person that's calling. They were being told like, yeah, it's been sitting there for almost 10 plus years. I haven't done anything with it. Just the quality of data in itself from driving for dollars. Don't get me wrong, it's tedious to drive for dollars, but quality over quantity is what I preach on a regular fucking basis. Quality lists mean quality fucking deals. So yes, made that pivot, started generating more leads, and within the first 3 to 4 weeks, we finally got our first property under contract. If only we actually did that when we first started off, we would have been seeing success within the first month or 2. But you gotta go through trial and error. When you're not paying for programs, paying for coaching, paying for mentoring, have people in your network able to help you, you gotta go through those trial and errors. So that's what we had to do. But now that we had that first contract, what did we realize? We realized within that time frame of those 3 weeks of trying to dial in a bunch of new stuff, we were able to create a framework within a script to follow each and every time. Again, another thing that I never shut up about is that this game is all about sales and numbers and marketing. So we needed to create that framework to create a sales process. So after those 3 weeks, we finally had a sales process in place to lock up as many contracts as we could with the amount of leads that were coming in. And again, about 2 to 3 weeks after that, we got our second deal under contract. And both of those deals, like I said, netted us roughly about $35,000. So I guess you could say after 3 to 4 months, we finally had our big break and we got our first few deals closed. So what did we start doing from there? We really started to refine our sales process and our systems that we had in place. So what starts with that? Your calling, the script, what to follow, the framework. Let me tell you a little bit more about it. Now keep in mind, when I'm 19 years old, calling people that are 20, 30, 40, sometimes even 50 years older than me, it's not easy being on the phone with these guys. You might have seen my content on social media of me cold calling sellers, buyers, this and that. but you can see the improvement. Now, the only similarity between all of those calls from my first ever call to the calls that I post today was me actually talking like I knew what I was talking about, even if I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. So from that first call to the calls that I make today, you know, there was a lot of confidence that needed to get built up. Now, in order to get really good on the phones, you gotta be confident. Like I said, you need to be talking like you know what you're talking about, even if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But a lot of people struggle with building confidence, and I don't blame you. You know, there was a point in time in my life where I wasn't too confident in a lot of the things that I was doing, but repetition really creates a lot of great things. And making sure that you can actually fulfill on their wants, needs, and wishes. From there, it's as simple as just giving the price. As long as there's actually a desire or a need to really need to sell that property, price isn't going to be the objection at that point. Being able to actually fulfill on their wants, needs, and wishes is what's really going to get contracts signed. So, you know, we found the list, we got the properties, we started calling through it, we now have that sales process down pat. The next thing from there is the easy part, which is the part that everybody seems to complicate. Surprisingly enough, it's actually the easiest part, and that is finding a buyer. So you got the contract, we own the rights to buy this property. We need to assign the rights to buy the property to somebody else. Now again, like I said, this is possibly the easiest part of wholesaling because let's be honest, great investments are always going to have a high demand. If I told you that you can buy a Bitcoin for $5 right now, I'm sure everybody would be jumping at that because that is a great investment because it's worth so fucking much at this point. So same thing goes for properties. If you can get a property under contract at a discounted price to where another investor is going to be making a profit as well, it's going to get sold every day of the week. So how to actually find these buyers? First, let's talk about all of the mainstream ways that everybody else is teaching about finding buyers. Going on PropStream, gaining a list of buyers, going on this website, getting a list of buyers, going into Facebook to get a bunch of buyers, all bullcrap. Let's go to the actual source where we know that this person is an actual investor and is willing to put up cash to buy this contract off of us. Let's find these buyers where they are hiding in plain sight. Zillow, Redfin, the MLS if you have access to it. You just need to search up the worst properties within those areas and see who's buying them. You can call the agent, you can do the right research, go on county records to find out who actually bought that shitty property or who sold that brand new renovated property that was a shithole about a year ago. You can probably use your common sense and put two and two together that, okay, that was a shithole a year ago, now it's fully brand new on the inside, and that was about a year ago. I could probably assume that that was a cash buyer or an investor, maybe looking for another one. So again, go on Zillow, go on Redfin, try to find the ones that just sold recently that look like pieces of shit, and then also find the ones that look brand spanking new, or it might even say fully rehabbed, brand new rehab, because you know an investor owns that, an investor owned it, or an investor just bought that. Simple as that. So let's say you got the signed contract with the seller, you found a buyer, you got the signed assignment contract with the buyer. From there, you got everything locked in. You got your wholesale fee written out on a legally binding contract. All you have to do now is submit that to a title company and have them facilitate the closing. And again, a lot of people complicate this part. It's as simple as calling a title company, telling them, hey, I have a property under contract and I would like for you guys to pull title on it and facilitate this closing. From there, they're gonna do the research into the property, into the deed, what's owed on it, what mortgages are still open, what taxes are due, all of that good stuff that title companies need to worry about, not you. And from there, they facilitate that closing, they schedule a date, you go in and you make your fucking money. It's really as simple as that. All right, now to bring it all together, let's talk about how simple it can actually be to close your first wholesale deal. You gotta find the right list. You can even build it yourself going driving for dollars in the right areas. Second, you just gotta call through that list, making sure that you're following the exact framework that I went over with you on this video. From there, you lock up the contract with the seller, you find a buyer using the exact method that I just taught you how to find buyers, and then lastly, submitting all of the paperwork for it to a title company so that they can facilitate the entire closing. Now, if for some reason you are still skeptical if this is actually possible for you, I want to show you my student Christian, who closed a $24,000 deal using this exact strategy in less than 2 months. And Gabe and Charlie, who were able to close a $12,000 deal doing the same thing. Now, you're totally capable of doing this completely on your own, following the steps that I just laid out. But if you want to be personally mentored by me, I'm going to leave a link in the description for you to check out. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next one.